I went ahead and started the recording. I'm sure you all saw that pop up. AmeriCorps, yeah. So this is exciting. Thank you all for coming. And for expediency's sake, I'm just going to go ahead and keep going. I have members of the team monitoring the chat as well. So if you think of questions coming up, please put them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them. Anything we don't know, I will find out for you and I will get answers and put it in the follow-up email. So definitely ask whatever you like, even though I'm not Alex. So next, we're going to do the presentation. I'm not sure how long it's going to take. This is not set in stone. We might get done a little early. Questions and answers. And then because this stuff is a lot of info, a nice relaxing sipping meditation. It's 6 minutes and it'll just get you recentered. Very good stuff. Okay. So we're going to start with some general information. Why would you refer somebody to 988 versus 911 versus 281 care in Hamilton County? What happens when you call or reach out? Who are these crisis counselors? What are their qualifications? Privacy concerns. Bridget is going to help us out. She's our instructor support specialist and go over some utilization numbers for 988 up until this point since it was started. And then we'll have a little more time for additional questions. Why 988? The official SAMHSA line is anyone who is depressed, going through a hard time, needs to talk, or thinking about suicide. One of the things that I've heard from crisis counselors that they want us to understand is that you can reach out to 988 even if you're not in crisis. You can reach out to 988 even if you're a mental health first aider. You're trying to help someone. You're like, man, I just don't know what to tell them. They're telling me this, that, and the other thing. I've not had this before. I read my user guide again in Connect and I don't see it. Okay, you could call 988 and say, look, can I run this scenario past you? Like, what are some resources I can provide to this person? So don't feel like you've got to have all the answers. I know when I took mental health first aid and I was given all the resources, I was like, well, this is great, but I don't really know what's what exactly, unless I've personally used them as a person who has lived experience with mental health. So definitely, if you need assistance, you could call them. So interesting statistic, almost 98% of people who call, chat, or text get the support they need and do not require additional services in that moment. What they mean by that is getting first responders involved. So 98% of the time, they're calling about an issue. They get assistance. They're good after the end of the phone call for that reason that they called. 988 Lifeline counselors are trained to help reduce the intensity of a situation. So are they there to problem solve and fix everything and give advice? No, they're just there to take them down a few notches and say, look, this is how I can help. These are resources that I can provide to you. These are some techniques, et cetera, et cetera. So reducing the intensity, connecting them to local resources as needed. This is literally giving out the information. It's my understanding they're not like transferring them or anything. So they'd have to like call again to Talbot House or wherever. Okay, this is super interesting. 988 versus 911. I'm going to switch and pull it up here because that's what I have to do with the share screen. Where are you? All right, I don't know why it's not sharing. So, oh, show all windows. Okay. Sorry. All right. I'm not going to read this whole thing. You will receive this in the follow-up email. This is a really terrific one pager that you may have seen before in your resources. This is mental health first aid, put this together, National Council.
Beth, I'm not sure if you're sharing your screen, but I don't see anything yet.
Okay, let me try again.
I saw it.
I did too.
Oh,
It was there.
sorry.
Okay, is this good?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Sorry, the font is a little small. I will read the highlights. So I won't read this whole thing, but I think some of the main points are when you call 911, it's going to the public safety answering point is what they're calling it. So it's going straight to whatever is closest to geographically where you're calling from. Rich, correct me if I'm wrong on that one. 988 calls are routed to a quote central administrator. One thing we're going to go over later is it is based on your area code. Okay, so if you're somebody who has a California area code on their cell phone, it's calling California, and you need to tell them that you need to be connected to Cincinnati, Ohio resources. I think that's extremely key, because if you're trying to help someone, maybe you remember to tell them, just let them know your location, just because that's how you're going to get your accurate resources. Yes, 988 has text, it has chat. 911, no national backup network. I'm going to say do research on your local situation as far as whether text and chat is available for 911. And of course, they both have trained professionals. Maybe if you've called 911, you're familiar with the fact that they will keep you on the phone until the personnel come for safety. And what I thought was interesting is the way they described the 988, the contact is the intervention. So their goal is not like, you know, let's call the EMTs every single time. We're here to help you and be this point of contact and give you resources so you feel better when you're done with the call, and then we're done. So yes, they both provide resources and capacity to connect to ongoing treatment. You know, dispatch is not going to sit there for 20 minutes and tell you all about Talbert House's services, but 988 could do that. Providing referrals to local treatment providers. Of course, it's limited by what is local to you. So we will get back to the PowerPoint. Okay. When you go to their website, 988lifeline.org, the homepage, you scroll down a little bit. I really wanted to point this out because these resources are just huge. Obviously, they're available to anybody. They do say if you're doing the chat function and you're waiting or something, go to these resources. Attempt survivors, I'm just going to highlight a few. Individuals with neurodivergence, huge. LGBT, we're going to talk about later how they have special call times if you're LGBTQ and you want support. Help in Spanish, it's only available on the phone. So I wanted to show this little and I mean little, it's 20 seconds video. Okay. I'm not sure if it's going to share the music, but it's just music. So I think we're okay if it doesn't come through. So this is part of the toolkit that is on the 988 website. And it's designed for Facebook, Instagram, whatever. The toolkit's terrific. So that was a short little overview there of what happens. Just because we were initially going to have Alex, I looked up a little bit of information. So Talbot House handles 100% of the calls from Hamilton County. And as we know, 513 area code. And so they also handle some of the overflow. So that was his connection to this. I wanted to point out that there is deaf or hard of hearing. Yes, everyone will get a copy of the PowerPoint. The calling, that's the only way you can get Spanish. They don't do chat and text Spanish, unfortunately. Hopefully that's coming. The Veterans Crisis Line used to have its own thing. Now it is call 988 and they prompt you to press 1. So that's terrific. Very simple for everybody. Calls are routed by your area code of your phone. So you're on vacation in Las Vegas and someone's having a crisis. They're calling Cincinnati. You're calling 988 yourself, perhaps to get some resources. You have to tell them you're in Las Vegas. It does not use geolocation. If the person wants to be connected to additional services, they might need to disclose their location. Okay. When you text 988, you literally just text 988. There's a separate group of crisis centers that just do chat and text. And the crisis text line does offer Spanish chat 741-741 or 988. Well, that's great. They need to update their website with that information. Okay, thank you so much, Michelle. So you're texting them. Once you're connected, they're going to provide this information over chat. What's going on with your problem? How can I assist you? There is Spanish, hooray. Chat is a little bit of a different animal, I found out. This is where you want to go. You want to go to the 988lifeline.org/chat. People seeking chat services are supposed to do a pre-chat survey before connecting with the counselor. I want to show you what that looks like because I feel like you should look at it so you can see what information they're asking for to kind of give that person you're assisting a heads up, perhaps. Okay. This is it. Nice big font. We love it. Check it out. Pops up in Spanish. I cannot pronounce that, but here we go. 988 Spanish. And ready to chat. All right. To start a text conversation, send a text to 988. Otherwise, you're doing this chat thing. The chat is the only time that they're asking for this survey. So they're looking for a zip code. You can provide an alias. They want your age. I mean, I'm sure you could kind of falsify this stuff just to get through it if you don't want to provide this information. One thing that I appreciate as a member of the LGBTQ community is this giant list of gender identities. Decline to answer is also on there. Do you identify as transgender? What is your main concern? Many choices. Someone else's safety is one of those choices. So just letting you know, like, you could call on behalf of someone. Do you have thoughts of suicide? On a scale of 1 to 5, how upset are you? Do you want to check in afterwards? And then you just agree. So it's brief. But I wanted to share that to let you know that that is something that will be prompted if they want to do this chat function. Okay, that was the pre-chat survey. So they're going to really suss out, like, why are you calling? What can I assist you with? If there is a wait, they will actually tell you the wait time for the chat. And they always say, like, oh, look at your resources in the meantime. I wanted to throw this out. I thought this was really interesting. If you, I'm not sure why this is here. Maybe there's a special source of funding or something, but if you're an LGBTQ person under 25, you can get specific support from chat or text from 3 p.m. to 6 a.m. Eastern daily. And you'll be asked if you want to opt into this support. So I'm assuming that if you do that survey and you select something in the gender category, it's during those time periods, it's going to say, would you specifically like LGBTQ plus support? I think that's amazing. I mean, we know that from our mental health first aid that a lot of people have with LGBTQ plus identification have higher rates of severe mental illness and suicide ideology and suicide. And so I think that's great. All right. One question that I had is, who exactly am I talking to? What are these people? What are their qualifications? So this is straight from SAMHSA because I just wanted to be very accurate with the wording on this. So specific training standards regarding suicide risk assessment and imminent risk intervention. I think that's probably just their verbiage for their training, their standard training that they make everybody do. Each crisis center also develops their own specific training. At Talbert House, the requirement is, this is for employment. I do believe they, depending on the place, they will also take volunteers. High school diploma and experience in social services. Chat and text centers are accredited by American Association of Suicidology, International Council for Helplines. I thought that was very interesting. Privacy. This is a question that people ask a lot. So, as usual with a call center, call may be monitored or recorded for quality assurance. It is important that if you are calling 988, you don't have to provide anything, your location, personal data, what's my name, you don't have to provide any of that to receive the services. they're not going to say, well, I'm sorry, I can't let you know anything until you tell me your gender. Like, they're just, you don't need to provide like this information. You can just remain as anonymous as you want. Just a heads up, they do have a readout that gives the phone number when you call or text. If you use chat, they're going to know your IP address. No idea if you use a VPN, maybe it hides it. Excuse me. If the crisis counselor does actually ask for some personal identifying information, it's only going to be in the event that they're trying to save someone's life. Someone is in imminent danger to themselves or others. You are wanting to be connected to ongoing support. Well, what's local to you? Let's figure that out. What's your zip code? There might be a survey afterwards, like you saw with the chat. You could like provide your email or something. Whoop. Okay. Another question frequently asked: when does 911 get called? So the reporting that many of you will be familiar with is when there is a risk to that person or another person, the crisis counselor has to reach out to 911, even if that person doesn't want them to. Mandated reporting. However, I thought it was interesting that this is only fewer than 1% of the calls. So the policy: crisis center staff work through active engagement to provide support and assistance for people at risk in the quote least restrictive setting possible. So they're not going to be overly eager to be calling emergency services for somebody as a first point of go-to. So it's going to be like as needed. I'm sure the situation will be assessed and so forth. So. All right. So what is the 988 utilization so far? And then Bridget, I did add the slide in next. So we are going to hear from Bridget Swihart. She is our instructor support specialist for the Mental Health First Aid Collaborative. If you are an instructor, want to be an instructor, want to be a master instructor, she's your go-to person. And her information's on our MHFA. Wait, is it okay? OhioMHFA.org.
That is correct.
So this is what we have for this. So I will let you speak to this.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Beth. So 988 was rolled out in July of this year. So actually it's been years in the making. Prior to that, of course, we had the 1-800-273 talk. That number, just of note, is still exists. It is still going to be answered, as is 741-741. Those lines are still going to be answered, but they are going to be, this is 90 days is also still is now going to be replacing that. So it got rolled out July 16th, just so you're kind of aware. So some numbers, and these were actually compiled. This information was from data was collected from SAMHSA and from one of our instructors, Pat Clark. So just want to give her credit for that. But 988 has, since it has rolled out in July, it has seen a significant rise in call volume, routing more than 2 million calls, texts, and chat messages, with the majority being answered in under a minute. Which again, I think is really important to know, because if we as first aiders are directing people there to get support, it's good to know, it's reassuring to know that people aren't just waiting around either. They're actually getting answered. The average speed to answer year over year was about 3 minutes in 2021, and is now 44 seconds. So again, that response time is improving, which we know every minute can count, right? Every second can count when somebody's experiencing a mental health crisis. So data from SAMHSA shows that 89% of the calls, texts, and chats were answered by a counselor, with counselors spending on average 21 minutes and 55 seconds with individuals. So just about 22 minutes is being spent offering that support. So again, it's not just a quick, this quick intervention. So it is, an amount of time that's being spent, which again, for me, that sends people to this number, that's reassuring to know. SAMHSA's data shows that in December 2020 versus December of 21, calls answered increased by 48%. Chats answered increased by 263%, and texts answered increased by just about 1,500%. So again, that's just what we have so far, the data since 988 has rolled out. So again, all good support to show that that this new platform seems to be effective. So thank you, Beth, letting me share that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I appreciate it, Bridget. Like, how great is it to know that they're going to take their time with somebody despite the call volume, right? So that's good stuff. All righty. Are there questions at this point? Would love to see what I could assist, see what resources I could point people towards. It says Patricia McCaslin has raised hand. Okay, Patricia, what is your question?
You had said that if they're VA related, they press 1. Then they go to somebody from the VA so that they're talking specifically with someone with knowledge on their situations?
That is a really good question. I'm gonna pull up there's a website for, okay, hang on. Okay. So this is 988lifeline.org, the main page, if you just scroll down a little. So if we go to veterans, I was thinking it would be here, Veterans Crisis Line. You don't have to be enrolled in VA benefits or healthcare to connect. Okay, great. But yeah, it doesn't say, but I will find out. Yeah, I'll find out, Patricia.
I will say, that's a good question. So I looked on the Veterans Crisis Line, which again is the 988 number. I did, just in reading it, it says live connection, connect with a real person qualified to support veterans. So it doesn't really say, it doesn't spell out exactly that it is a veteran. Don't know what exactly that means, but their language that they're using is a real person qualified to support veterans. So not sure if that means somebody with lived experience or not.
Yeah, here it says trained counselors. Many are veterans who understand the challenges service members and their loved ones face. So, calling from overseas. That's cool. All right, well, let me find out.
Thank you.
I'm just going to write it down. Training for counselors. So what I'll do is I'll just put that question and answer in the follow-up email too. And that way everyone has it. And let's see, I think there's something in the chat. Okay, you're welcome. So now we get to, let me just make sure I say this. So yes, you're going to get a follow-up email with the recording link. It'll be on the Mental Health America of Northern Kentucky and Southwest Ohio YouTube page, which I'll show you in a second. And there is a really great compilation of resources specific to suicide prevention that one of our team members, Kathy, put together. And I'm going to put that in the chat. So give me a second to just copy that website. It is Google Drive. And it'll go in that email as well. There you go. So there's the Google Drive. It has 5 folders. Hopefully nobody has trouble pulling it up. And also links to SAMHSA, the Lifeline websites, basically the main websites that I pulled this information off of. Answers for Patricia's question, anything else that comes up. I wanted to take a moment to just acknowledge everyone's flexibility. Sorry that our featured speaker was not available. And I just appreciate like the efforts of the team as well in helping me put this together at the last minute. And thank you for the flexibility of the participants as well. Hopefully you're finding this to be a good wealth of information. Definitely we'll have a little feedback survey as well. And we can talk more about that at the end. So, alrighty. So next. All right. What some may consider the best part of this presentation, the part where we all relax. All right. So this was actually put together. If you had the pleasure of attending our mental health first aid summit at the Columbus Zoo last fall, this will look very familiar. So Bailey works for Mental Health America of Ohio. She's based out of Columbus. She is a social worker among her many talents. And there's her contact email if you would like to follow up with her. And this is a nice, relaxing 6 minutes of your time, any beverage of your choice. It really encourages you to kind of focus and be present in the moment and let us forget a little bit for the stress of thinking about helping people in crisis. And so we're going to go to our YouTube page and pull this off of there just so you can see what it looks like in case you want to return. So let me get out of this. Okay. This is our wonderful YouTube page. This is also where this recording is going to live. Down here, you can see the meditation that we're going to pull up here in a second. Some vlogs that we have, recordings like if you're an instructor and you missed the instructor gathering are here. Very good to know. Vlogs, classes, information for the instructors, welcome video, all kinds of variety of things. So we're going to go to the sipping meditation. What this is just, welcome. Whoops, hang on. Is just this background because the idea is to chill. If you have to shut your eyes, fine. You don't need to focus on an actual like speaker and look at what they're doing. So she will walk you through it. I want to make sure that we have audio. And where's my drop down?
My name is Bailey, and today.
Beth, I hear it.
You do hear it?
Yeah, it's really quiet. If you can turn your volume up,
Yes.
as loud as it'll go.
Yeah, let me. All right, let's try this. Whoops, what's happening? Okay, can we see the meditation?
Yes.
Great. Okay. How about, can we hear it now?
Welcome. My name
Yeah,
Yeah, you can see it and hear it.
okay, I will let it play then. Everyone relax. I'm gonna mute myself.
welcome.
If you mute yourself, we can't hear the video.
All right. Good. Thank you to whoever pointed that out. All right, we'll do some more time. Sorry.
Welcome. My name is Bailey, and today I will be guiding us through a mindful sipping meditation. Please know that you are welcome to participate as little or as much as is of interest or benefit to you. As we settle in, grab a beverage of any variety, coffee, tea, water, and then take a few moments to find a comfortable seat where both your feet are on the ground and your spine can be long, shoulders away from your ears. Can you make any movements or adjustments to be even 1% more comfortable as we move through your meditation? As you feel ready, hold the cup in both your hands. Focus your attention on the temperature you feel, how that temperature feels on the palm of your hands and fingers. Note the weight and texture of your cup. If it feels interesting, bring your face close to the cup and take a slow, deep breath. Notice any warmth, steam, or aroma from your beverage. And if nothing comes up, that's okay too. Note the sensation of what is happening inside your nose. With your inhale, breathing in the aroma of your beverage. And as you exhale, feeling how the air has been warmed by your body. Place your lip on the edge of your cup, but don't take a sip. Stay there for 5 to 10 seconds. Notice what is happening inside your mouth. Any urge to sip or salivation. Notice the feel of the cup against your lip. Take a small sip, don't swallow. Hold the liquid in your mouth for at least 3 to 5 seconds. Notice the sensations, the taste, the temperature, how the liquid rests on your tongue. Swallow and feel the liquid moving down your esophagus. Then feel welcome to sip the rest in a mindful way. Bring your attention to any amount of comfort, ease, or gratitude you feel in this moment and for your beverage. Note what the experience felt like and what you were able to gain from slowly sipping your beverage. Know that you can practice mindfulness and take moments to slow down and feel at any point throughout this meeting and your day. As we move through our session, any decision you make to invite in mindfulness, self-care, and comfort are celebrated and welcome. Thank you.
Greetings, instructors. I want to take a few minutes to go over some exciting upcoming events that we have. Of course, the big one being the summit that's going to be held at the Columbus Zoo. If you've not already done so, please make it a priority to get yourself registered. The cutoff date for the registration is September 7th, and then the summit itself will be September 21st. Again, that's at the Columbus Zoo, and that's going to be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We certainly have a lot of great speakers coming, as well as different activities. And this year, a little bit different than last year, we're inviting not only the instructors, but also those first aiders that have been trained under this project. And this is all old news, of course. That we have together from the entire project.
Just so nobody gets confused, that's all old news.
To open up that application, just give you some idea about what you're going to get in the summer or what to expect.
Okay, I apologize because I thought Bridget was speaking live and it was the YouTube video automatically loading the August instructor information.
Yep.
1 minute, please. Let me get back to the PowerPoint. Okay. I enjoyed that. I hope everybody enjoyed the little sipping meditation. Again, feel free to borrow in credit for any meetings you may have, for sure. This is wrapping up. So thanks everybody so much for attending. We had really, really great attendance. And this is my contact information. If you have any questions, there's my work phone number. I hope everybody saw the Google Doc, but I'll throw it in there again. The recording will be on our YouTube site. I will send you all the resources and a little feedback survey. Quick thing before you go, does anyone have any topics they would love to see for the next Wellness Wednesday, which will be first part of May? We would love, love, love suggestions. You can put them in the chat or unmute yourself, whatever. I don't see any yet.
Beth, this is Autumn Rule.
Hi, Autumn.
Hi, I apologize. I usually don't make all of these meetings, but something that one of my participants had brought up recently, after taking the class, is they were hoping that the class would talk about more how to connect with somebody who's in crisis. What I think was missing was how to explain to participants that sometimes you can't make a connection with somebody who's in crisis. And they were looking for a little bit more information about what to do when you cannot connect with somebody when they're in a crisis state, because not everyone is going to be able to logically follow or answer the questions you're asking when you're doing your assessing. You know, in my particular field, I had just had, I am a de-escalation instructor, and, you know, sharing what kind of the things that we do when we can't connect with somebody who's in crisis, how to make sure they are safe while we're getting, you know, while first responders, or the time it takes to first responders to get there. You know, I think like sharing with participants how there are just times that you cannot connect, to ask those assessing questions, and how to talk through that with participants that come to you with that question. Hey, what do I do when my loved one is kind of, you know, not in their mind? So I just thought that, you know, and for me, I felt like it was something that I could talk to her about, but then I thought about someone who's not had my experience with other trainings. How do they answer that question for participants?
Right. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. So maybe like as an overarching topic, kind of deep diving into the A part of algae, the assessment part, like what happens when it has to stop there because someone is, who knows, in a psychosis state,
Right,
etc., unable to focus on you whatsoever.
yeah.
Yeah.
The particular video we have, you know, Maria and can connect with Peter, and
Yeah.
but that's not always how it works out.
Right. Yeah. And I think that would be really valuable because you just sometimes, like, you might just see someone out in public that you don't know at all, and you don't know their situation. You don't know what's going on in their head that's preventing them. Like, what do you do for safety? I think that's like, that would be a really key component as well. How do you keep yourself safe when we're waiting for first responders? Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Autumn, I might connect with you too, if you don't mind, just to kind of just to go over this with you a little bit more, just to make sure that we're getting everything. And maybe pick your brain for some examples too, for some de-escalation techniques that that you use, some strategies that you use that we might be able to pass along as well, if you don't mind.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
I thought it would be a good topic to bring up with other instructors.
Yeah, I think that's great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I wrote it all down. Okay, let me check the chat. Yeah, de-escalation was mentioned. Yeah, I think it'd be valuable to do kind of a deep dive. I feel like, say you've done your mental health first aid training, but yet you haven't necessarily come across certain situations. It's good to be reminded, like, what would you do? Let's take some time here. Let's take 15-20 minutes and really talk about it. So good idea. Alrighty. So if there aren't any other questions, good news is we have 6 extra minutes. So everyone, you enjoy those 6 extra minutes. You know what else is 6 minutes? The sipping meditation. You could do that again. Whatever relaxes you the most. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for attending. Thank you for being flexible. We hope you felt like you got a lot of really good information, and be looking for that email coming up.